I came across an article recently that linked to a study, and I use heavy air quotes for this study, that I have already seen reproduced in several places in just the couple of days since this was originally made. And I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that this was going to happen because it reinforces an idea that certain groups of people, generally those who run these kind of news sites, wanted to hear. Now I'm going to give you the title of this article, and you're going to immediately understand what the fuck is going on. Black Lives Matter protests may have slowed overall spread of coronavirus, new study finds. I edited out the small part where it says Denver specifically because that doesn't matter. That actually really does not matter to this study nor to my video in question. But I just wanted to disclose that because full information given. Now, I spent several hours reading over this study, and what this is a bunch of gobbledygook. It really is. The large meat and potatoes of this is that it's a bunch of buzzwords and scientific hoopla to just waffle around. It's another one of these studies where they had an answer they wanted, and they tried desperately to find any way to get to it rather than let the information provide any kind of answer. Hell, in reading this study, they don't even actually say that Black Lives Matter may have slowed down COVID, which, by the way, there's a key word in there, may. And you'll see this in a lot of the articles that are talking about this. Even though they're describing it as a definitive thing in the articles, they also use may, might, could have, etc. a lot. Well, in this study, one of the things that they said that probably accounts for all of this is that we're seeing a demographic shift in COVID cases. What's happening is it used to be people over 50 were the majority of cases of COVID. And they are thinking that what's happening is now it's going to be people 20 to 30 who are the majority of cases, and they don't show symptoms nearly as severely as people over 50, so that's why it appears that COVID isn't spreading quite as rapidly. They say this in the fucking study, and the study, I'm going to link the article that I just gave the title to, and the study is right in there, so you can go and take a look at that yourself and have fun wading through that. It's interesting, all right. You'll be lucky if you can find it in a few hours, because Jesus Christ. But yeah, they say that because they don't have enough information and require a new study to determine if there's been a demographic shift, that they can't definitively say that. I can say, having looked at the data for COVID cases or new COVID cases that places have been releasing, that is exactly what's happening. Every place that is releasing age information regarding new COVID cases, the majority of new cases are in the 20 to 30 age range. Coincidentally, that is who are going to these protests. Now, my opinion on this is actually going to make things a lot worse, which we're starting to see the rippling effect of. Look, I want to say something very blunt right here before I go into this. I am a person that thinks that the way that COVID is being portrayed by the media is overblown. I think that the apocalyptic, it's going to kill everyone, a way that they are presenting it, and the fact that we've had to shut everything down for so long and we are now shutting everything down again, is absolutely overblown and insane. That said, I do believe that this virus is dangerous and there should be precautions in place, especially around large gatherings. Like, I would have opened up stores and restaurants because you can control those. You can't control beaches. That's the one area I wouldn't have. That's the idea. Where large outdoor gatherings, I would have said, nah, let's not do that. Let's wait a while. But stores, restaurants, etc., where owners can regulate how close people are, how many people there are at any given point, that should be fine. So I think that all of these protests have been bad in that sense, and we are now seeing that effect in that the largest demographic of new COVID cases are in the 20 to 30 age range, which to me is far, far worse than when it was primarily in the elderly, because the young are mobile. They move around a lot. They don't get as sick, so they are still going to go where they go. They are going to meet up with a lot more people than the elderly would. They are going to spread this farther, faster than if it had been primarily among the elderly. That's the difference here, and that's the big problem with this, is that in the short term, you may, I emphasize may, not see that much of a difference because it's just a demographic shift, but in the long term, this is going to have very, very far and wide repercussions, and we are seeing that because we are reaching new record COVID cases that we've never seen before. That's how I am looking at all this. I don't care how these scientists are trying to manipulate it to seem like nothing bad is happening. By their own data, by their own guesses, this is what's going on, and it is far worse because of it. And that's what upsets me, is that this is going to be taken as, aha, see, the protest did absolutely nothing, they actually helped. And then that's going to embolden people to keep doing this shit, and then it's going to spread farther, faster. Look, these protests should not be happening if you think COVID is a serious thing. I am very much the person that believes in the freedom to protest because of the First Amendment. That is where I believe. Now, the key here is, if you actually think that COVID is going to be spread in these kinds of things, what you need to do is shut those down. Period. If you don't shut those down, then open everything else back up. It's as simple as that. If you do think that there is a risk of COVID from gatherings, shut down the protests too. It sucks because that is a First Amendment right, but we are in a stage where we honestly believe that a virus is going to spread far and wide and kill everybody. So that's the only way of looking at this. Either everything gets shut down or nothing gets shut down. You can't play favoritism. That is what makes people really upset, and then biased studies like this only help to reinforce how pissed off people get, because you're trying to find ways to excuse something that should not be happening. I pine for the days when science actually was science, rather than let's see if we can find what I want to find. It's insulting, and the fact that they give us the information and don't think that we'll read through it to find out it's a bunch of hoopla is amazing. I really hope that if these places actually think COVID is a serious thing, they will shut protests down. And I know that that is going to look terrible on any politician that does that. But that's how you have to do it. If you believe that COVID is as bad as you say it is, you need to shut the protests down. If you don't shut the protests down, open everything else up. There's no other way of looking at it. But then, what the fuck do I know? I'm just an idiot talking into a camera. that has been reading data, looking at data nonstop, trying to figure this shit out, looking at all the information available to me. I mean, it's not like I know what I'm talking about or anything. I'm not a WHO scientist that said that this is absolutely no worry at all and that you shouldn't even wear face masks. Fuck the WHO, by the way. Just thought I'd get that out there. This has been Math Machine, pining for scientists to be scientists. Welcome to 2020. What a strange age we live in. Peace out.